Up, our community? I am so glad you are all here today because we have such a treat with Alyssa joining us. And you know the title because you signed up, but she's going to teach us how to take one piece of video content and turn it into over 100 posts, which I know I am so excited to use in my own workflows. So guys, like Alyssa went ahead and popped over into the chat there. And like Deanna said, hey, I'd love to know who's here. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know what industry you're in, where you're from, and go ahead and connect with each other during this webinar. One of my absolute favorite parts of doing online stuff is being able to chat with other people who have the same interests as you and that you can go a little deeper. So I'll be hanging out in the chat, but you guys are not here to listen to me. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to Alyssa now. And we'll do our best to answer your questions. If something doesn't get answered, we'll leave a little bit of time at the end for Q&A, but we'll definitely go ahead and email support at meetedgar.com afterwards if you have further questions. So Alyssa, go right ahead.
Hey, okay, super exciting to see all of you guys here. I love seeing that you guys are from like all over the world. This is amazing. So welcome. I'm in Toronto and I'm just going to share my slides with you now. Let's get into it. We're going to pretty much get started right away since I know you guys all have lots to do. But make sure, I know people are already posting, but make sure you know where the question box is because I am going to be answering questions as we go on throughout the webinar. If there's any parts of this that seem confusing to you, don't worry, just go ahead and ask me. And you've already started doing this, but I want to know where you're from and what you do, really importantly, so I can see like what kind of industry we're talking to here. And if you are sharing this on social, of course, this whole like class is all about social. So if you are sharing it, please tag me so I can see, you, where you're from. I can creep you on social, which is amazing. Hey, okay, awesome. I'm so happy you guys are here. So as I mentioned, what I'm going to be covering today is how I turn one video into 111 pieces of content every single week, but also how I post 55 times per week completely on autopilot. So without ever opening my computer, it's happening completely on autopilot. So I just want to also say before we start, thank you. I want to say hey, and thanks so much to the Meet Edgar community for having me here. It's so great to meet all of you guys, and I'm really grateful to be part of this since I'm so obsessed with productivity. This community is obviously my people. You guys get it. So thank you again for having me. And I want to make sure that you guys are for sure in the right spot, right? I don't want anyone wasting their time on this class. So let me make sure that I let you know exactly who this is perfect for before we go any further into the class. So number one, this is perfect for you if you are or you desire to be an entrepreneur who makes a living from their expertise and their creativity. So this is really great for coaches, influencers, service providers, anything like that, as well as e-commerce entrepreneurs. This is made for you. This is also for you if you want to really start to implement really productive systems so that you can hit those targets, but you don't have to be spending all your time on social media. We all know how important it is for a business, especially in 2020, to be on social and to leverage that organic growth strategy. But most of us are looking for ways to spend a little bit less time on there. If you're anything like me, then it's really easy to just spend all your time on social, and you want to look for ways that you can still have as big of an impact, but with less of an impact on your free time. And this is also for entrepreneurs who don't want to just create more content for the sake of staying relevant, right? This is not what we're here for. You're actually, looking for some kind of express route to have that impact and to have the exposure that you really want without needing to just keep creating content all the time, create, because that can be so exhausting. And I know for most of us, we have really, important messages to share, but it can start to become diluted if you're constantly looking for so much to say. Okay, I'm glad everyone can hear. I started to panic there. I've been talking. So as you know, during this class, we're going to cover a few really important things. Number one is the productive way to leverage your time while still being everywhere on social. We all have those people where, maybe you talk to a friend of yours or a colleague and you're like, oh my gosh, she's everywhere right now. I keep seeing her. I see her ads. I see her speaking on a stage. I saw her on someone else's story. She's everywhere, We want you to have that effect of being everywhere on social without needing to actually be everywhere. So you don't need to be glued to your phone and you can actually have more time freedom. And that's what we really want, right? So I'm going to take you through my 10-step method on how to turn that one video into 111 pieces of content every single week. It's not too good to be true. It really is the truth. Plus, I can't wait to show you how we also set up an automated content recycling plan that allows us to post 55 times per week. And this is even if we don't create that video. So if I'm on vacation, if I'm like just need a week off and I'm not feeling it, or if my client work starts to get really busy and I need to pull back on creating content that week, I still know for sure, thanks to Meet Edgar, this wouldn't be possible without them. I know that 55 pieces of content are going out on social on my behalf without me doing anything. So it's really, really, really exciting. All right, let me see where you guys are at, and I want to see you raise your hand if you're here. So raise your hand if this has anything to do with you. If you're constantly busy, give me a hand raise emoji. So if you feel like you're always busy and you're spending a lot of time at your desk, but some months it gets to the end of the month and you're left asking yourself, like, what did all this even amount to? Like, I've been doing stuff, I've been working, I've been behind this computer, I've been next to these flowers, for a long time, but I'm not sure if I'm really getting where I need to go. I'm not sure if I'm really making that impact and having the momentum that I really want. So I see some hand raises. I like the monkey cover. Yeah, I feel you. Okay, well, give me a hand raise emoji. Give me a hand raise emoji if you relate to this. If you know that your dream clients are hanging out on social, but sometimes it also feels like you're just posting and you're like screaming into an abyss and like really only your mom is commenting on your posts. If it feels like that, I feel you. Let me know if you relate to that. Yes. Okay, great. And also raise your hand if you start to see other entrepreneurs who have just as much passion as you do. You know that they have just as much know-how as you do, just as many qualifications, but somehow they're killing it and they're everywhere on social. And you're starting to maybe become a little bit secretly jealous. Let me know if you can relate to that. And also, if you want to leverage your time and energy so that you can have more time to do the things that you actually love to do, but you still want to make the same level or maybe more impact than you really are right now, and you want to get it to that level that you really desire. Yes, okay, I see all of your hand raises. Okay, amazing. Before we go too much further, I should say hey and welcome and let you know who I am. So my name's Alyssa if we don't know each other. And I'm a productivity strategist for creative entrepreneurs. And I'm also the founder of a program called Your Most Profitable Quarter Yet. And I'm personally a recovering procrastinator myself. And because of that, I really became obsessed with how I needed to figure out how the Oprahs of the world, how the Marie Forleos of the world, how the Beyoncés were running empires, staying creative, but somehow making it all look so easy, right? They were traveling, they were, releasing these incredible records, they were selling out programs, and it seemed like they were always on social all the time, right? And so I needed to figure out how they were doing that. And once I did, my business took a complete 180. I stopped being a procrastinator, I can admit to that. And I really started to master the exact process to take entrepreneurs from feeling like they're overworked, they're underslept, to really feeling productive and profitable and really having the level of freedom that they desired. And from that, what we call in my community, the Freedom Rebellion was really born from here. And what that means for so many of us, freedom really means less time on our phones, less time on social, but still being able to grow our businesses and to have the impact that we want, at the same time. We shouldn't have to choose between one or the other, right? Let me know if you can resonate with that. And that's really that's really the reason that I created this, because I wanted to have that impact, but I also wanted to have so much freedom. And creating 100 pieces of content in a week would not be, I would have no time to do anything else, right? So that's not my version of freedom personally. So let's do it. All right. Oh, before we go, I did make a little checklist for you guys. So you can grab this. It's totally free. Like, just go ahead and get it. It's at alyssacoleman.ca/ME checklist. I think we are going to put it into the little chat box here so you can grab it. And if any of this seems complicated or confusing to you, don't worry. We're going to send you the replay. You have the checklist. If this is your first time using Meet Edgar, the first time I went in here, I was like I was like a kid in Willy Wonka's Candyland or whatever the heck it's called. It's just so exciting, but with any new software, there is a learning curve. So be patient with yourself, follow along, and you just know that you'll have this checklist and you'll be able to really follow it step by step once you're in the platform as well. Also, if you're not using Meet Edgar, your first month is free, so go ahead and get that. And that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do with this 1 to 111 is going to be using Meet Edgar, of course, right? Okay, so let's do it. So step number one, this is the most important step, and this is what I call the original video. And this is the most important thing, and this is where I want you to spend the majority of your time, but also this is where I want you to be really intentional with, with what you're putting out. This is really where I don't want you to, I don't want you to slack here. All the rest Meet Edgar is going to mostly do for us, but this is where you need to show up as the expert that you are. You need to be intentional with what you're putting out here. And what's great is that you get to create this one video, and eventually the idea is that you just get to create one epic piece of content per week. Everything else snowballs. And if you have a team, or if you plan to have a team in the future, your only job will be to create the original video, and then your team can kind of take it from there, which is so exciting. So you can create your original video however you want. Someone just asked how long should the video be. That's totally up to you. I like to try, and keyword here being try, because I like to try to keep it below 10, below 10 minutes. 15 is like the max. I usually go to about 15, but if you keep it below 10 minutes, then you can post it pretty much anywhere. So, but it's really up to you. I've seen longer ones as well. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can just film the video. So you could, record something like this, or you could actually go live. So you could go live on Instagram and download that. You could go live on Facebook, download that. What I really like to do is just to sometimes go into a Zoom room by myself, like as if I'm having a meeting, but it's just me, and record my video training that way. And then I download it just like that. And I've never personally done this with a podcast, but I think this entire process would work with a podcast as well. So if you're already putting out one podcast episode every single week, then you're already ahead of the game. And every time I say original video, just sub in podcast. But in this case, we're going to talk about creating a video. I really love video because it helps you connect with your audience. It really helps you create that connection. And live video is even better because people kind of feel like they're hanging out with you, right? It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be this like perfectly polished thing. People kind of get to see like, oh, Alyssa kind of, she said those words weird and her cat's in the background, and that's cool. And people get to feel like they know you a little bit better. So I love doing live videos, but it's not essential. So we're going to start with one video. Cool? Now, once you have your original video, you're going to then share it onto IGTV and YouTube. So I just saw somebody say, does it have to be a video? It doesn't. You can do it with, you're going to see, I'm going to talk about a blog in a minute, but I really recommend starting with a video. So just follow with me here. Cool? So you're going to go ahead and create your video. Then you're going to share it onto IGTV and YouTube. And I really recommend you do both. What I believe about social and what makes Edgar really great for this is that I think you should meet your people where they're at. So if I'm the type of person who likes to be on YouTube all of the time, but you really only post on IGTV, I'm probably not going to see your content. But if it takes me 2 minutes to take my IGTV video, pop it up on YouTube, and then you get to see it more readily, then that's really my mission. I want my stuff to get in front of the people where they're already hanging out. So I recommend putting it to both of those places. So we put ours here on IGTV. We go ahead and put a little title and stuff like that. You don't have to do that. You can just upload it right away, as well as on YouTube. And now you already have your first 2 pieces of content. So now you've turned one video into 2 different pieces of content. So now it's on IGTV and it's on YouTube. So like I said, you're meeting people where they actually are. There we go. Did I skip a slide? There we go. Sorry, I'm not sure why there we go. Okay, I'm back. So one thing that's really awesome, and as kind of a bonus, when you put your video on IGTV, is if you don't have this swipe up, I really recommend put your stuff on IGTV, because here's the thing. You could say, hey, go watch my video. It's on YouTube, and the link is in my bio. So if you don't have 10K followers yet on Instagram, you can't say swipe up to watch my YouTube video. However, what you can do is say swipe up to watch my IGTV video. Instagram lets anybody who creates an IGTV get that swipe up feature to send people to your IGTV. I can't say IGTV again. So if you don't have 10K, I really, really recommend this. And you can even, I'll talk more about Instagram stories later, but you can even say, hey, you know, I just filmed a video, and you create a little Instagram story and say, swipe up to go watch it, and people can go watch it. So we always share a new IGTV into our stories as just a little bonus. You get that swipe up. And as an extra bonus, it also, if you choose the option in feed preview, it also shares in your feed that week as well. So if we post a video on Monday and it goes into our Instagram feed, we don't have to post another Instagram post that day, right? So, you know, with Instagram and with most social platforms, you want to use all of their features, right? So you want to go on Instagram stories, you want to do IGTV, you want to do the live videos, and you want to post in your feed as well, right? So this is another great bonus. My IGTV has become an Instagram story, and it's also become a post in my feed. So these are just bonuses. And now what we get to do is we get to actually really use Meet Edgar to its full capacity by starting with what I call the Meet Edgar 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create caption intrigue using Meet Edgar. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upload my video into Meet Edgar, and I'm going to create 5 variations of the caption that goes along with my video to get people excited about it, right? So you could just say one thing about your video, and either I'll click it or I don't. But if you say something different about the same video tomorrow, maybe that will actually resonate with me and I'll watch that video. So we're going to create 5 to see how many people we can resonate with, to intrigue as many people as possible. And we're going to share those 5 variations to our Facebook page, our Facebook profile, our Facebook group, as well as LinkedIn and Twitter. So we're really going for it here. And this is just where we share it. If you are on more platforms than that or less, then do your thing here. But this is what we recommend. And this is how I really leverage it. So let me show you exactly how we do it. So I'm going to go over here to add new content, and I'm going to upload this right into Meet Edgar. And you can see here, this is where you actually upload your video. I'm going to save it into a category, and I'm going to get more into categories in a second, but this is what really makes Meet Edgar a powerhouse. And this is how I can reshare this video later and recycle it. So you want to save it into your little, like, what I call them, like, buckets, but Meet Edgar calls them categories, so we should probably call them that. But I save it into my little bucket that has all of my videos in it, so I can share it again later, and that's here called the videos category. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go add variation, and I'm going to write 5 different variations of my caption that's going to go along with that video. So I'm just going to say, like, 5 different people, 5 different things that might resonate with different people, and talk about different parts of the video. Let me see some of these comments before I move on. Is there anything that's like, no, I'm not getting way less views. I haven't noticed that. You want to keep your you don't have to worry too much about your captions. I like to keep them short and sweet. That way people are more likely to actually click and continue watching. You don't need a VA to handle all of this, but you can get your VA as well. Can you post from your personal page? Yes. I'll show you that. James Bond is shaken but not stirred. All right. So here's an example of the types of captions that I actually use. Jody, I know you want to see those. So here are some things that I might do. So some are short and sweet, like the habit to make you the happiest, healthiest entrepreneur. Boom. If I saw that, I'd be like, I need to know what that is. And, you know, then there's some other ones that are a little bit longer and kind of get people a little more interested in your caption and in your video. So then what I do is I actually click over here on my Facebook group, I click on my Facebook page, and then I click on my Facebook profile as well. Cool. So now what you can see is that I'm sharing my video to these 3 places, and I'm already creating 17 pieces of content that are able to go out. Pages, yes. Profiles, no. Sorry, I'm not sure what the exact difference is there. I thought that's what they were called. Okay, so now here's where it gets really interesting. So what we're going to do with Meet Edgar is we're going to use their feature that's called Schedule, Send, and Save. And what that does is it allows me to say, hey, I've created 5 variations that talk about different things that get people to go to my, go watch my video this week. But I don't want to send out all 5 this week and like really overload all of my social platforms, because that might be a little bit, a little bit much, and people might find that crazy. So I go to Schedule, Send, and Save, and I say, hey, choose one of these variations. I think Meet Edgar automatically chooses the very last variation that you've written. and share that one with all of those pages that I told you about, or now I'm getting confused if it's profiles or whatever. Share that to all of my platforms that I just talked about on Tuesday. And that's when I really want to share it. And I can see that it's going to schedule out one of those. Cool. Now, with videos, we do something that's a little bit different here. I actually do the same process again, and I just copy and paste all of my variations. But for LinkedIn and for Twitter, you can't actually upload a video to those platforms, or maybe I think with Twitter you can, but it has to be super short. So what we do is we just send them to the link to watch the video. So I do the same thing, and now I just click LinkedIn and Twitter, and I send them the URL. And this is up to you. So we choose to send people to our YouTube video URL, but if you want more people to go see your Instagram, then you can send them straight to your IGTV URL, and you're gonna get them excited with your caption, and you're gonna then send them over to that IGTV video. So all of these variations are here, and then you're sending them over to that URL, and you're gonna follow the same steps by going, clicking the LinkedIn and the Twitter, and then saying, schedule, send, and save. So you can choose when you want that to go out. Cool? Yes, hyperlink to the video. Exactly. So now we're all the way up to 27. And so I created this little schedule here. This is just my Google Calendar that I wanted to show you an example of what this might look like when I have schedule, send, and save. So let's say I record my video on Monday, and then I upload that video onto YouTube and IGTV that Monday. I might tell Edgar then to share about that video on LinkedIn and Twitter on Tuesday, and then share about that video on all my Facebook pages on Wednesday. That might be a great way to kind of start to share about that content every single day without overloading and sending people all of it to all my social platforms on one day. And so now you might be wondering, what? How are we already at 27? And here's exactly how. So I break it down right here. So we've got the IGTV and the YouTube video. There's 2. We've got the original video with 5 caption variations, and we're sending those to 3 different accounts. So 5 times 3 is 15. And the same thing for LinkedIn, which is another 5, and the same thing for Twitter, which is another 5. So look how quick this starts to really snowball. And all I've really done is filmed a video. And yes, you could send this as an SOP to your team if you want to, but you don't necessarily have to. You could do it as well, but you could send it to your team too. Do I write captions differently for LinkedIn? I keep my LinkedIn and my Twitter captions pretty similar. That way I can just batch those together. So I just keep it short and sweet, if that would help. All right, so now we're on step number 3, and let's create an Instagram post about that. So you want to get in the feed. I showed you that the IGTV already goes in the feed, but we want to take up even more space in your Instagram feed, and you don't want to have to come up with a whole new, you don't have to come up with a whole new caption every single time. We want to find ways to leverage the work that we've already done. So use what you talk about in the video to really create an awesome written caption for Instagram and put that in a scheduled post. I also sometimes even use one of the the caption variations that I've written for, in the last step to create a post that I send out on Instagram. So here's an example. Like I said, I just use what I talk about in the video to kind of create something short and sweet and maybe a little bit quippy. You want to make sure that, I'm not going to transcribe my whole video and make it an Instagram post. I want to write here the way that I would normally write in an Instagram post, but I use the content and the message that I want to really be focusing on that week from the video. So now we're up to 28. And what I kind of mentioned this before, but what's really cool is that you actually get 2 posts out of this method. So we usually post 3 times a week, and here's an example of us. We posted once here, and that's our IGTV video. We posted a little bit of a quote there on Wednesday, and then we also posted on Friday, and it's the same message. And I actually reminded people in this post here, hey, if you haven't yet, go ahead and check out that IGTV video. You can find it here, and this is what we talk about. So it really helps me come up with lots of different captions without always feeling like I'm on this treadmill of needing to come up with new content all the time, because it's just can sometimes feel really exhausting. And so here's an example. I schedule that in Meet Edgar, and I tell it to send me a little notification on Thursday and say, hey, Alyssa, you have a post ready. Go ahead and post that on Instagram. Meet Edgar is going to send you a notification, which is really nice. All right, let's get into step number 4, which is the blog. How's everyone doing so far? I record my videos on Monday, and I don't record separate videos. I actually just crop it into different dimensions. So with my IGTV, I just add a white bar at the top and at the bottom, if that helps. Yes, okay, you guys are still with me. Yay, that makes me so happy. Okay, awesome. So now let's talk about a blog. Okay, I know a lot of you like to write. I use a program called Zubtitle to crop it, but I think there's lots of different softwares that you can use. So let's talk about beefing up your website. This is a really, really important kind of big second step, right? So now you have a video, but I think it's really important to also get this video to live on your website, because we all know that like having stuff on your website helps with that longevity factor, right? Like if I keep posting on Instagram, that IGTV video is going to eventually start to get buried. And I really like having this on my blog. And that way I can actually send more traffic to my website. I want to increase page views on my website. And it also allows me to leverage other, offers that I have. It allows me to grow my email list when I have this blog. And so this is really, really important. But if you're not a writer and you don't really like writing blogs, or maybe the thought of blogging every single week seems exhausting for you, this is great, because what you actually get to do is you get to basically use the exact content that you've talked about in your video in a blog post. So really exciting here. You can send it to your team and say, hey, take what I talked about in this video and turn it into a quick blog, or you can do it whatever you want. And I cover pretty much the same topic that I do in my video, but I cover it in written form for the people who are readers, for the people who like reading blogs, right? So definitely recommend take that video, your little original video over here, and go ahead and turn it into a blog and let it live on your website. So now we've created a whole other piece of content from the topic that you've spent time creating at the beginning of the week. Right? So here's an example of what my blog would look like. This is the blog that I created the other week. And you can see here that I actually embedded the video right within the blog. So in case somebody comes here from one way or another, I want them to kind of go through the labyrinth of my content as much as possible. So I just go ahead and embed the video. If they get to the blog and they're like, you know what, I kind of just want to watch this, they can totally do that. You can also see here that I've added some ways for them to opt in, grab a checklist, take this a step further. And this is going to really help me grow my email list as well. So having this on your blog allows you to kind of leverage those things too, right? So once you've written a blog, then we get to do some fun stuff. And like I mentioned before, you want to leverage all the different areas of the Instagram stories, or sorry, of Instagram. And one of those that is like king right now, I think, is Instagram stories. So we use Instagram to create 6 and sometimes even more Instagram stories to actually promote the video and the blog. And then we schedule those stories into Meet Edgar. So here's an example of what you might want to do. We use, what we like to do is we actually use the image that we have in our blog post to create some promos for Instagram. We sometimes here talk about like what I'm actually going to cover in the video in case people, there's a lot of videos online, so I want to give people a little teaser, a little taste of what's going to be in the video with something like this that actually gives them a couple check marks that shows, hey, here's what's going on with the video. And if you want to know these things, then go ahead and watch the video. Also, you can see here that I've created one Instagram story that's literally just, I created right in Instagram by sharing my IGTV and putting some GIFs over it and stuff like that. But I also really recommend you just take some, Instagram stories of you talking about the video, talking about why you like, why you really believe in the content that you just created and why people should go watch the video and share that. So now we've got a couple more. I like to create 6 here. I think, you can share it all in one day. I see people are saying GIFs or GIFs. That's a long-standing debate. But yeah, you can share these all at once or get Edgar to schedule them throughout the week for you, whatever you choose. Yeah, Pete says, do you spend a good day? Yeah, it takes our team about 2 hours to do the video as well as everything else in Edgar on Monday. And then the rest is the rest of the week, it's all scheduled for us. Okay. So here's an example. I might schedule some of my stories to go out on Tuesday. Like I mentioned, Meet Edgar will send you a push notification and you just open your phone and then share that onto your Instagram stories. All right, let's talk about the email. If you're growing a business, emailing your audience is king. We all know, most of you probably got here by an email that Edgar sent, or maybe an email that I sent. It's really important. And so you want to make sure that you keep the people who are already on your email list really hot and really warm. And so, like I said, we want to meet people where they are. If they're the type of person who's always checking their emails, we want to send them an email and let them know what's going on with you. Let them know that you've got a new blog. Let them know you've got a new video. And what I actually do is I send an email about my blog post to my subscribers. We personally, our goal is to get as much traffic to our blog as possible, but you can actually send people to your IGTV, you can send people to your YouTube, you can use any of the content that you've already created before and direct your email subscribers there. But I really like to let them know what's up with you, where they can check out your new blog post, and sending them to your website so that you can then still keep them up to date with offers, promotions that you have going on. And usually I actually use some of the copy from my blog post to create the bulk of the email as well. And then I say, hey, do you want to read the rest of this? Go ahead and check it out. We have a whole blog on it, as well as a video, and so on and so forth. Cool. So now we're up to 36 pieces of content. Send traffic to your blog, send them an email. Here's one that we've sent on the same topic that you saw, the productivity hack that rich people use, which is the blog post that we've been going for. All right. Now, what's really cool, now that you've written a blog post, you get to do this all over again. So I call this the rinse and repeat. We get to do the Meet Edgar 5 all over again, except this time, I'm about to blow your mind because it's about to be so much easier. We're going to follow the same process that we did for the original video, but we're going to do it with a blog post, okay? So we're going to create 5 variations to share the blog. We're going to share it to all of these places here. Cool? And so here's what we do. Bear with me, my slides keep getting stuck. Hello, there we go. So we use the blog and we share it to these places here. And what we do is we go add new content. We tell Meet Edgar for the future we want to send it. We want to save it to our blog post category, then my little blog post bucket. And what we get to do here that's so freaking exciting is we get to click on Edgar's auto-generate variations, that's what it's called. And it's gonna automatically go into your blog post, look for parts of what you've written there that are catchy and headline worthy, and it's gonna automatically do this for you. So it's gonna actually create all 5 of these without you doing anything. And it's really cool because it'll even shorten some of them for Twitter and stuff like that. And all of this is done for you literally within seconds. So I click here, my group, the pages that I want to share to, my LinkedIn and Twitter. And so I schedule them all at once. You don't have to do it separately like we did for the video. And boom, it's done. 5 variations to all of these 5 places here, 25 pieces of content, totally ready to be recycled, to be shared this week all at once. It literally takes 2 seconds. It's incredible. This is my favorite part. Now, boom, we're already up to 61. Yes. And so we use the schedule, send, and save option here, and we say, hey, share it on Thursday, and we go ahead and share it then. And then all of those other variations are now filling up my bucket. So now I have all this future content that we can recycle in the future, and I'm going to get to that in one sec. All right. Now here's where the magic starts to happen, and this is when we bring in Pinterest. And I'm personally obsessed with Pinterest. Who else here is obsessed with Pinterest? I don't find it's too much for my group. But it depends on the dynamic of your Facebook group, you know? Yes, there will be a replay. I know it seems like a lot if you're solo, Alex, but actually it doesn't take us that long. Like I said, as long as you film the video and the blog post, that's really the parts that take up the majority of the time. Yeah, so Shelly, you want to know about the variation. So here's an example. Let's say I want to talk about, I am using the same video, but I'm sharing it different ways. So if I create this webinar right here with Meet Edgar, I might share this tomorrow with my audience and say, hey, you want to know how to turn one video into 111? And some people might take me up on it and some might not. Next week, I might say, do you want to know the exact software that I use to recycle all of my content on social media? If so, come watch this webinar. So see how I've talked about it in a different way? That's what those variations are basically. And the buckets are categories. So we're going to get into the categories in a second, but you save those for later. Yay! Awesome. Okay, so Pinterest. Here's what we're going to do for Pinterest. And this is when things start to get really exponential. So get ready for my excitement level for this. So what I'm going to do with Pinterest is I'm actually going to create 10 pins. What's cool about Pinterest is you can keep putting out content on Pinterest pretty regularly, but it also lives on there forever. So you get that traffic for a long time to come. So we're going to create 5 pin images for the blog and 5 pin images for the video. And we're going to share those in 1 second. So what we actually do to make this a lot simpler, I know someone here said they're a solopreneur. What we get to do is we actually create kind of like templates for our images. So that way we just like duplicate it. And this really doesn't take us very long at all. All of these images took us about 20 minutes to create. So it's really quite quick. The first time you do it, maybe you got to get creative, but you can also go to like different websites like Creative Market and get templates. Canva has templates. So you want to create 10 images. And now get this, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into both our own Pinterest as well as we're going to start to, oh, and someone said Etsy also has variations, which is cool to know, which I didn't know. So what we're going to do is we're not only going to pin to our own Pinterest boards, we're going to start to leverage something really, really cool about Pinterest, and that's what is called Pinterest group boards. So you might know about these and you might not. Maybe you've shared a Pinterest group board with a friend where you guys are like putting together recipes for a vacation you're going on or something like that. But these are something that's like a hidden gem of Pinterest that I know a lot of people don't know about them. And when I found out about them, my mind exploded a little bit. But basically, these are groups where you can post your content. They are owned by someone else and they have their own set of followers. So you can join these group boards. Anyone can join them. You want to find some that are in your audience, and you want to find some that are, relate to the content that you talk about. Here are 4 that I recommend. I recommend starting with 4 group boards. Okay, so you're going to search for group boards, and I want you to start with 4. Now, here's what makes these so cool. I don't have that many followers on Pinterest. Maybe I have like 5,000 followers, maybe not even that much. But these group boards, look at this one, has 66,000 followers. This group board has 70,000 followers. This group board has 30,000 followers, and this one has 40,000 followers. So by posting on my Pinterest, I'm going to get in front of 5,000 people. But by posting into these 4 group boards, which are totally allowed, people want you to post there. My pins are going to get in front of 200,000 followers that I didn't have to grow my audience by. 200,000. Like, what would it be like to have 200,000 followers? Like, that's insane, right? And you don't have to do all the work of growing this audience. They're already being curated for you. And that's just with 4 group boards. So I really recommend, totally like a secret, right? I totally recommend get into these as soon as possible. Google, how do you get into Pinterest group boards? Usually you just have to like send a little message to the person who owns the group board and say, hey, I post about productivity. Do you want me to post my pins in here? And she'll be like, yeah, girl. This works for B2B. This works for B2C. It works for everything. They have like knitting group boards. They've got Christmas recipes group boards. They've got a group board for everything. If you like Pinterest, you know that they've got pretty much everything on there. Yes. Okay, so here's where things get interesting, so stick with me. So you're going to have 5 pins for your video and 5 group boards, right? So you're going to pin it to your own board. I have one here that's just called Alyssa's blog. I put all my blogs and my videos in there. And these 4 group boards that you've chosen, you're going to create 5 pins. Then you're also going to create 5 pins for the blog post. So direct people to the video and direct people to the blog. We want people to be going to both places, whatever they resonate with. If I'm a video watcher, send them there. If I'm a blog watcher, I'm going to be more likely to click this one. And we're going to send those 10 pins to 5 group boards. So automatically 10 times 5 is 50. So now we're sharing this 50 times. And like you saw before, we're getting in front of more than 200,000 people with these pins. So this is really, really incredible. And this is when it starts to get exciting because it can really almost become exponential at this point. So that's just with 4 group boards. We're actually in 50 group boards, I think more than 50 group boards. So our number here becomes 560. Like really quick, this starts to go up really fast. And Pinterest loves the more pin images you create, the better. So don't worry about being like spammy or anything like that. Like if you posted, 10 Instagram posts all about the same thing, it might be a little crazy, but on Pinterest, that's not the case. That's what their platform actually loves. So here's how you can really leverage that and get in front of so many people and create different images. One image might resonate with some person. One title might resonate with a different person. And so you can see here, I'll actually go back so you can see all my slides. I sometimes call them different things. I give them different names. Your caption variations might give you some ideas of like different titles to put on your pins. And you just want to try to cast a really wide net. So some things people will really enjoy and some things other people will be really drawn to, right? And this has been massive for me. Most of our website traffic comes from Pinterest, which is really exciting. Pinterest can drive a lot of website traffic. This is good to know. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, 90% of our our audience comes from our website traffic. Comes from Pinterest. So really, really exciting. I do put all 10 images on my blog board too. Yes, Kimberly. Yeah, I do. So yeah, using my little sample schedule of what you might be doing, I'm going to do all of this on Friday. It takes me about an hour and I can get all of that done. So right now you can either choose to do this by like manually pinning all of your pins on Pinterest, or you can use a software like Tailwind. So we're currently using Tailwind to do this, but a secret tells me that Meet Edgar is actually coming out with a Pinterest integration in the next couple of months. If you're watching this on the replay, they might already have it. And that is like really going to change everything. They already have taken over so many different schedulers that I used to use. And now I get to do this all in one place. And I'm like so stoked for that. So you can choose to schedule it with Tailwind, or you can just wait for Meet Edgar to have the scheduler, and then Meet Edgar can go ahead and schedule that for you. So you can post all 50 pins in one day if you want, or you can schedule them to go out over a couple days or a couple weeks. That's totally up to you. Is TikTok on the radar? That's so interesting. I don't know. I don't personally post to TikTok. All right, so I like to-do lists. So I made a little sample to-do list for you in case you want to see like, how would this break down? Like, it seems like a lot when I'm going through these slides, but like I said, it really only takes us a couple hours on a Monday to organize everything. So I broke this down in a way that might be really manageable for you. Thank you for the to-do list. Okay, I'm glad you guys like this as much as me. I knew you were like my people. So here's what an example to-do list might be. On Monday, I'm going to record my original video. And then in the afternoon, let's say 1 p.m., I'm going to share that video on IGTV, and I'm also going to share it on YouTube. Then on Tuesday, Edgar is going to automatically share the video on Twitter and LinkedIn for me with the URL. And then in the afternoon, it's going to share that on, it's going to send me a little push notification that says, hey, share about your video on Instagram stories. And I just have to open that and go ahead and share it on my stories. Then on Wednesday, Edgar is going to automatically share that video for me on all of those Facebook platforms that I personally use. And then on Wednesday, maybe this is when I'll take the time to actually write my blog and write the email that's going to go out to my list. And I'm going to schedule that email to go out the following day, so I don't have to worry. And I know that it's going to go like a good time. My audience really likes to open emails in the morning or the afternoon, so I'm going to schedule it for the next day. So then on Thursday in the morning, Edgar is going to share about my blog post on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. It's going to be sharing it everywhere. And then that email is going to automatically go to my list in the afternoon. And then also in the afternoon, maybe I'll share about that blog post or the video in an actual Instagram post. Edgar is going to send me a little bit of a notification, and it's going to say, hey, you wrote this post, go ahead and share it on Instagram. Cool. And then on Friday, I'm going to share about my video and my blog on Pinterest. And then I'm going to take the afternoon off because I've just shared 100 pieces of content. I've just created 100 pieces of content in 1 week. And so I'm going to celebrate. Go ahead and celebrate. Can you hold on this slide? Yeah, go ahead and take a screenshot. I actually need some water. So Laura, that's a great question. I don't share all 100 pieces of content the first week. Every time that I've created a variation, I'm only sharing one of those variations that week. So does that answer your question? Yes. Okay, good. Yay! Yes, Meet Edgar does keep track of the variations, and they don't they don't just shuffle them. They always put the one that you've used to like the back of the line, so it won't be shared again until its turn is back up. Does that make sense? It always goes to the bottom of the deck. So you want to know when the other variations get sent out? Great question. Let me show you. Here we go. So every week I'm creating new content and it's being shared all the time. But I also want Edgar to be sharing my old content so I get the most of that all of the time. And I get the most out of that content. I get to use all those variations. Also, if you're like me and you've been creating blogs for a couple of years, then you don't want those, all of my old blog posts, my old videos are great. And I want people to, if they're new to my audience, I want them to actually see that content, use it, and get the most out of it. So I want to recycle that content. This is where Meet Edgar blows my mind and it makes my life so easy. It's something that they have that's called the recurring schedule. So what I recommend that you do, I'm glad that you like my calendars, Megan. This is actually not mine. This is actually right in Edgar. So you can see why I love it because it looks like a beautiful calendar. I love it. So what I actually do is in my afternoons, get Edgar to share my old recycled content. I don't like calling it old content because it's not like, it's not like old news, but my recycled content, I get it to share that in the afternoon. So what I do, and this looks a little confusing, so let me show you like this. So what I do is I say, hey Edgar, my man, on Mondays, can you share to all of my platforms? So all of these, Pinterest, well, Edgar doesn't share to Pinterest, so I have to schedule that separately, but it will. But share to my Pinterest boards and my group boards, share to Twitter, LinkedIn, all my Facebook places, as well as my Instagram stories. Can you go ahead and share one of my old blog posts for me? And it will go ahead and do that. And then on Tuesday, can you share one of my videos? And then on Wednesday, can you share about one of my freebies or a webinar that I've done or something like that? And then on, on Thursday, if you can go ahead and share a different one of my old blog posts. And then on Friday, share one of my other old videos. And it's posting one of those things to 11 social platforms. And so every single day, so 11 times 5, that's 55 pieces of content coming from Alyssa Coleman out onto different social platforms where different people are hanging out. And it's sharing my old content so that it becomes fresh again, and it kind of gives it this new life. And if I'm sharing my freebies on Wednesday, then I get a lot of new opt-ins and emails that day, which is really, really, really amazing. And you'll see that we do things a little bit like it's not as simple as them just taking a blog post and posting it everywhere, because of course we want to create a few different categories or buckets so that the images look right. So I'm not going to share the same blog post image on my Instagram stories as I will on Pinterest. So we create a few different little categories and we say, hey, post it to these different areas every single day. So when you recycle content, do you rewrite all the content? Absolutely not. No, that's why those variations come in handy, because I write those 5 variations then, and then I go ahead and put them in the bucket, and they're just there for me to pull out, well, for Edgar to pull out of later, if that makes sense. So every single week I have new content coming out, but then I also have 55 pieces of my old content being shared as well. Does that make sense? Absolutely, yes, I'm so glad you like that. So let me show you what this might look like. So in the morning, here's where I'm doing those things. And then we just save that and recycle the Meet Edgar blogs on Monday, the Meet Edgar videos on Tuesday, freebies on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm going to do blogs again, and Friday, I'm going to do posts again. So when you're first starting, like if you don't have a lot of blogs and a lot of videos, then, that's when that first part of this class is going to really come in handy. So every week you're creating that new content, but every week you get to fill up those buckets to share in your recycle method afterwards as well. And yes, yeah, you can retire old content if you don't want to use it anymore. And you can also create like different categories. So if I share something, like let's say I share about Christmas stuff or something like that, I can have that in a separate like Christmas category that I only bring out at certain times of year. But the stuff that's in my recycle area is stuff that I know is good all the time. My clients are interested in, my new people that I want to see my stuff are really interested in, and all of that. Okay, let me see some of these questions that are coming in. And remember, all of this is shared with you in the checklist as well. Okay. All right, I see my questions here. So Marcella says, what is it that you use to edit videos? So I use a program called Zubtitle, but there's also, and it is a paid program, but I really love it. But there's also a platform that I used to use before this called, let me see, I think it's called InShot. I want to say it's called InShot. If you guys are here and you've used InShot, then let me know. But I'm pretty sure it's called InShot, and it's totally free, and you can crop the videos how you want them. I like to use this program called Zubtitle because it adds captions to everything that I'm saying, because I don't know about you, but I watch videos on mute like all the time. So I want to make sure that if someone wants to watch my video on mute, I've got their back. What do I use to create the Instagram version of my video? That automatically happens with IGTV. So when you upload your IGTV, you're just going to click a little box that says share. I think it's just called an in-feed preview, and it automatically shares a little preview of your video, the first couple seconds. And then you might have seen this on Instagram before, where it says continue watching an IGTV, and then you click it and it takes them to the rest of the IGTV video. Let me know if that answers that for you. Is the checklist the SOP that you give to your team to do, or do you do these items? So I don't. All I do is I create the video on Monday, and then my team does all the rest because they're amazing. First couple times we did it together, so that we like get into the groove and all of that, but now they know how to do it, and it's quite easy. Yes. Okay. And my team does it really quickly on Monday too. Like, this is not the only thing we work on all day. It takes a couple of minutes, and then we move on to the other stuff that we've got going on. So these are 17 different text posts linking to either the YouTube video or the IGTV. Yes, Joe, I believe the answer is yes. It's 5 variations going to my different platforms. How close together do you post this video to all the platforms at the same time? Then how far apart do you post the variations? Great question, Wendy. This little Google calendar here will help you. So I like to kind of space them out and do one each day. So, on Monday, it goes out on Instagram. On Tuesday, it goes out on LinkedIn and Twitter. Wednesdays, all my Facebook places. Thursday, then on Thursday, actually, I share about the blog everywhere. And then on Friday, I share on Pinterest. And then those variations are recycled by Edgar later on in the afternoon, but it won't share. And maybe, Megan, you can answer this properly, but it never shares my content too quickly. So like, it won't share about, even though I'm recycling those posts later on in the afternoon, it won't share about the blog that I just created and shared a variation about this week until after it's been through all my other stuff. I'm not sure how it does it, but it knows.
Last in, first out order, and the very last variation you add to the post will be the first variation that sends, and then that whole post is put to the end of the line in the category, and Edgar waits until it's back up in the rotation, and then he'll send the next post. So it'll be like variation number 5 will send, then the whole post gets down, variation number 4 will send, then the whole post gets to the bottom. So your variations won't send back to back unless that's the only piece of content in your category.
Right. So if you have like, 2 or 3 blogs in there, like, you've got time, sister, for all of those variations to get through. Okay, and then someone asked here, am I actively engaging on all of my platforms? So no, I choose the places that I choose the places that I know my people are at, and I choose to spend my time engaging there. So for example, I don't really spend a lot of time engaging on Twitter just because I haven't really found many clients there. I don't really use Twitter, so it wouldn't really make a lot of sense for me to be like hanging out there just because I feel like I have to. But I know that Edgar's sending content there, so if somebody does happen to be on Twitter, or if they are a Twitter person and then they just find me on Twitter, they can see all of my content. But I'm actively engaging on Instagram and on Pinterest and then in my Facebook group. That's kind of what I choose. But you can choose whichever one you feel like you really like engaging on, or where you think your audience is, and all of that. Can I exclude posts in a category? Can you briefly let us know about your team? Yeah, so I have one part-time team member, and then I have different freelancers. So my one part-time team member, this is one of the things that she does every single week. So it's a very small team. It's not like we don't have a big production studio or anything like that. Like, I think this is really, I think if you're a solopreneur, then you need, something like this more than anyone. When you have really small, a small company, you don't want to be paying somebody to be rewriting different captions for you every single week, rescheduling posts for you. And actually, in the past, my team was spending way more time doing this before we had Edgar, because we had to reschedule posts every single week. Like, if we wanted to post the same thing to my Facebook group every week, we have this post in our group that's like a promotion post. So, hey, share any freebies or like blogs that you have this week. We had to reschedule that all the time using Buffer. And now using, no shade on Buffer, but now using Edgar, we just scheduled it once and we said, hey, repeat this every Monday, and we're done. It took like 10 minutes, a job that would take us time every single week to do, which is very annoying. Yeah. Let me know if I missed any other questions. You can go ahead and ask me now. Do you shoot your original video vertically or horizontally? Great question, Dawn. I personally shoot mine horizontally, and then I crop it vertically. So I'll kind of like push in a little bit and then make it a little bit longer for IGTV. But I think you could do both. Like, you could shoot it vertically, and then when you share it on YouTube, you'd have those two black bars, but I like to shoot horizontally, because what happens is then when it goes in my in-feed preview, it shows just the right amount. It shows pretty much the whole video, and all the rest is just white. So when they go to watch an IGTV, it's still horizontal. James Bond, you've come around. I thought you weren't going to like it, and I thought you weren't stirred, or you were shaken, I don't know, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. How much do you vary the wording around when you're how much do you vary the wording around your video when I'm posting about it? Not too much. Like, you really only have to come up with 5. So I just kind of try to come up with, I like to think of these as like my angles, right? So I'm like, what's one angle we could come at this from? And I try to, think of like, what would relate to different people. So maybe to one person, one angle would be like a very like facts-based, like the 3 things you need to know about social media scheduling in the next 24 hours. Like, that might really relate to one person. And then, another angle might be a more freedom-based angle. So I might say, 3 ways to have more time freedom in your life, while scheduling on social media, or something like that. So I just try to come from different angles. Alyssa, your Edgar sharing all happens at 3 p.m. on weekdays, and that's it. That's where all of my recycling happens. All these other posts up here are from the original video. Let me know if that answers your question, Daksha. I don't think it's the James Bond, you're right. But I think it is James Bond. How do I balance new and old content? Are you posting twice daily on each? Yes. Not on each platform, Katie, no. So what I do, no, I'm not posting twice daily on each. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, Edgar, recycle something on all of these platforms Monday to Friday. So everything is going out Monday to Friday. Stories, all my Facebook places, Pinterest, Twitter, and LinkedIn. But on Monday, all I'm doing is sharing the video that I just recorded onto my IGTV and my YouTube. Tuesday, that's when it goes to LinkedIn and Twitter, as well as an Instagram story. Wednesday, that's when it's going on Facebook. And then Thursday, that's when the blog goes live, the email goes out, and I share it on Facebook. But all of this happens like automatically. I know that you have someone on your team, Katie, that can help you do that. Like, all you would have to do is film 1 video per week or 1 podcast per week, which I think you're already doing. So this could be done on autopilot for you. Ron, the difference between scheduling recycled content and new content is with the new content, I do what I showed you, which is schedule, send, and save. So I say, hey, send this out on Thursday. And then also save it to my content category so that it can be recycled in the future. Whereas with the recycled content, I just tell Edgar once, this has been set up, for a while. I told Edgar one time, hey, on Monday, post one of my blogs to all my platforms, and then I never have to touch it again, and it automatically is posted. Yay! You're interested in my take on categories. I wish I knew what you meant. If you can give me a little more details, I would love to hear. So that's how you guys really create a automated marketing system. And I'm all about creating systems in your business, and I want to actually offer a free systems assessment to anyone who's here just to you meet Edgar people if you want to. So basically what I've done is I put aside a couple slots for systems assessments with you guys over the next week to speak with you personally about this system, as well as setting up any other systems that you might really need in your business right now. So whatever your biggest challenges are when it comes to systems, we've probably seen it and we can help you overcome it. So all you have to do is go to alyssacoleman.ca/call. You can go ahead and book one. And what we're going to do on this call is it's a systems assessment. So I'm going to work with you. We're going to look at what's working really well for you right now. So what areas are you naturally extremely productive in? And do you naturally see, are you naturally working in systems in? I want to know what those things are so that we can leverage them even more. But we're also going to talk about maybe what's not working, what systems in your business right now are not working for you, or what holes you might have that are stopping you from getting clients to your business or selling more of your products or whatever it is in a really productive way. And so anything that might be holding you back from getting to that next level. And then we're going to talk about what that next level is for you. So what's your big goal? Let's talk about what systems and what strategy I really recommend to get you there. And it's totally free, but like I said, spots are really limited. Of course, I really value freedom. So there's only a few spots available. And I want to make it very clear that this is not for everyone. There is a bit of a catch. This is who it's for, okay? So number one, you have to be incredible at what you do. So my role as a productivity strategist is not to help you become really confident and to become really good at what your service or what your product is, right? So my goal is to help you drive new leads, traffic, and really bring in productive systems that help you get more clients, sell more of your products. If you don't, I can't ethically feel good sending more leads to your products if you don't personally believe in it. So you have to be really good at what you do. This is for the person who knows you're like, I am sick at what I do. I just need to get on the phone with more people, or I just need to close more clients so that I can actually do what I'm really good at. I'm naturally an incredible nutritionist, or I'm naturally, a really great life coach, or whatever it is that you do. I just need help creating more productive systems that are going to drive more opportunities to my business. And the other catch is that you have to be ready to implement strategy. This is not a chit chat conversation. You can probably tell from this free call, or from this free class here. I'm kind of not a chit chat kind of girl. You have to be ready to implement strategy. That's what we're going to talk about on this call: systems and strategies that I think would benefit your business. So you have to be ready to implement. You have to be a go-getter. That's who these are designed for. And if that sounds like you, then you can go ahead, click on the button. I think they have it right here, or you can type that in, whatever you choose to do. You're going to see an application form, and then you can go ahead and see my calendar and see whatever time works best for you. Grab one of those while they're still available, and we can chat. I'm really, honestly, I'm so excited to meet some of you guys. Like I said, I know that the people who are interested in systems like Meet Edgar are my type of people, because you're looking for ways to leverage your time so that you can do work once and have it work for you for months and weeks and years to come. And that's who I'm here to serve. So sick. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions while I'm still here. I want to answer them for you. You're welcome. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys liked it. The consultations are free. alyssacoleman.ca/call. It's totally free. You're welcome. How many categories? I don't know exactly how many categories we have. We have a few different ones. So we have our blog category, But then we also have our blog that is going, we have a category that's called like Instagram story blog. So if I'm sharing about my blog on Facebook, I wanted to have a different image than if I'm sharing it to my Instagram story. So I'll have two categories for that. But really, like our main categories, you know, not taking into account the different like image styles that we like to use. Our main categories are blogs, freebies, our offers. So we have a category, sorry, I've talked way too much. We have a category that's about like different offers that I might have, different programs that I might have. So when I'm in a launch, I can use that category and get Edgar to schedule all of those posts automatically for me. So yeah, posts, videos, freebies, offers, I think that's it. Vivian, I'm glad this was encouraging. Heather, actually Meet Edgar sends you a report that says which you know, content did really well, which one got the most clicks, how many people actually saw your content. And so we review that, and we also review our analytics right within Instagram as well as right within Pinterest. Yeah, so Megan just put like about all the reports here. Yes, so that's such a great question. Sometimes we do pause certain content, so I won't be putting out new videos when I am in like a launch or something like that. It's such a great question. I'm a solopreneur. What kind of freelancers do you use? Are they task specific? I feel overwhelmed and wonder how to do it. Yeah, that's a great question too. I had so much hesitation when I first started expanding my team, but I actually found it a lot easier to start with a couple small freelancers. So yeah, I would hire somebody to do a specific job, like, hey, can you edit this one video and I want to see how you do? And then I might now hire a freelancer to edit all my videos, or a copywriter to help with, you know, maybe you want to hire a copywriter to help you write all of your blogs. So take your video and transcribe it into a blog. And so I like to just start with one specific job. And then if you like them, then you can start to expand from there. But I think I really do think it's great to hire a VA as soon as you can, even if it's just for like 5 hours a week or like something, maybe even 5 hours a month, but just start small and you'll start to notice more and more things you can start to delegate. And I find it's really easy to scale from there. Do you have a freelancer for my website? I don't. I hired somebody when I first did my website, but I don't have someone on like ongoing or anything like that. VA stands for virtual assistant. You're welcome. Where do you find a freelancer? Okay, so there's a couple places that you could look. One that's really great is, or a VA. So with a VA, I really like to get a recommendation. So I would see you, good night, Charlotte. I like to get a recommendation. So maybe go into like a Facebook group, maybe, you know, ask in a webinar like this, hey, does anyone, you know, that I trust, have you worked with a VA that is incredible and you can recommend? I like to get a recommendation, but you could also go to places like Upwork and Fiverr, and those are really good for freelancers. And there's also a website called, I think it's called Hire My Mom, and it's cute. It's like stay-at-home moms or like moms with young kids, but they want to do some like part-time VA work or specific jobs. Like there's some really incredible, highly skilled people on there as well. So you can check those out too. Do you do your own photos? So I have a photographer for the ones that were pictures of me, but I also use websites like Pexels, P-E-X-E-L-S, and Unsplash for royalty-free images. Oh, Tammy was a freelancer in Upwork for a long time. That's encouraging. That's exciting. Pexel web address. It's just what you wrote there, pexels.com, I think. But just Google it. Yeah. Okay. Tammy's got it. And Megan just put a whole thing. Oh, yeah. I've used Pixabay too. That's a great one. And Megan just put a whole thing about social media or media sourcing. Right there. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad you guys loved it. Hopefully I'll be chatting with you guys soon on the phone, and hopefully you can show me, you know, if you are using Edgar, like definitely tag me and show me how you're using it, because I know like once you get your hands on it, you guys are going to be obsessed. And like I said, the first month is free, so it's worth like giving it a try and following the steps that I do in this webinar and see if you like it. Yay, so glad you loved it. I'll see you guys soon.
pop in here real quick and let you know we will be sending out the replay. And I know a lot of you were saying the chat was moving fast, so I will make sure to put the links in the replay email that's going out tomorrow as well. If you have questions that are more about Meet Edgar and how the functionality works, definitely let us know. Support@meetedgar.com, and I can kind of clarify any of that for you. Alyssa, thank you so much. This was incredible. I am so inspired to go do some systems work now to save some time. Guys, yeah, thank you so much for joining. This was awesome. See you next year.
Thank you, Boo.